Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite bookstores in New York City. So I have grown up, spent my whole life in New York State, and a lot of that time has been spent in New York City, and a lot of that time has been spent book shopping. So I have been to pretty much I would say 80% of the bookstores in the city. And I'm saying 80% because New York City, things are constantly changing. There's always something new popping up, something old closing. Some of my old favorite bookstores have closed, which is super sad, but there are still some physical locations that I really just love going to. So if you're ever traveling or coming to New York, I thought it'd be fun to put this video together to tell you about some places that you absolutely have to visit if you're a book lover. So the first bookstore on my list is probably no surprise to anyone. It's the Strand bookstore. The Strand is located on, I want to say it's 12th and Broadway. It's right by Union Square. And it is just this enormous used bookstore, and they have everything that you can possibly imagine. So many books. It's so much fun to go there. As soon as you walk in, you can just tell, there's a big sign on the door that says welcome book lovers. So it's just, it's amazing. You just get the best feeling when you walk inside, because you can tell this is a store for people who love books, and it's an independent store, which is really nice. So as soon as you walk in, there's tables of books, and all of them are favorite books of the staff, or classics, or just highly acclaimed books. So those are fun to check out right in the front table. And there's also some books about New York kind of on the right side. And then if you keep going, walking all the way back, it's floor to ceiling shelves of books, and there's ladders between aisles. So a lot of times you won't be able to reach a book, and you'll have to jump on a ladder and channel Bell for a minute in order to get whatever book it is that you're looking for. So if you keep going backward, then you're gonna hit the fiction section, and then a little bit further back, the back corner area is one of my favorite places in the store, and that's where you'll find all of the adult science fiction and fantasy. And then my absolute favorite place in the store is gonna be on the second floor, because that's where you can find all of the young adult novels. It's young adult children's novels, graphic novels, manga. There's fashion books up there. So it's actually a 3 or 4 story store. And they also have a really cool rare book room. Another really great thing about the Strand is that not all of the books are used. There are a lot of new books, but there are some used books as well. So a lot of the time, one of the tricks with shopping there that I've noticed is if there's a particular book that I'm looking for and there are multiple copies of it on the shelf, I'll take every single one off, because chances are there's usually one of them that's a lot cheaper than all the rest of them because it's used, but it doesn't look like it's been used. So that is just something to look out for if you happen to go there. And I feel like I'm rambling, but I just really love the Strand. It's one of my favorite places in the universe, and it's where my fiance proposed to me because he knows how much that store means to me. So just if you could only visit one bookstore in New York for some reason, that would be the one that I would suggest going to. The second bookstore on my list would be Books of Wonder. Books of Wonder is located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. It is an adorable little store, and it's a store that is completely devoted only to young adult books and to children's books. So it's just a really fun place, because it's kind of targeted exactly for my interests and probably lots of your interests as well. It's only one story, but they host a ton of author signings and just book events, and they're just so involved in everything. It's a really, really great place to go. This is another one that is just the top of my list, and I had only discovered it I want to say 5 years ago or something. So this is more recent to me, but it's still one of my favorite places. They have a lot of Folio Society books in their store, which is really nice because those are very expensive, very beautiful books. I showed some of them off in my last haul, but it was nice to be able to see them in person before actually placing my own order. And they also have if you go toward the back, they have tons of artwork that is inspired by classic children's literature, and they have this huge bookcase that's all in glass, and it's all really rare children's books. So it's just really fun. And then they also have a bakery inside that is part of City Bakery, and their desserts and like hot chocolate and everything is just the best. So it's really fun to go there and like get some food and browse around and check out what's new. And then they also always have in stock a ton of books that are signed by authors. So even if you can't like necessarily make an event, you can still pick up a book that's been signed because they always have like so much of their stock that's been signed, which is really, really nice. The third bookstore on my list is a big store that everybody should be familiar with, and it is Barnes & Noble, but it's the Barnes & Noble specifically in Union Square because that's one of their flagship stores. That store is so beautiful. I think the first time that I ever went to that Barnes & Noble, it was because I was going to meet Neil Gaiman and Brian Lee O'Malley, who did the Scott Pilgrim series, and that was like so amazing and cool, and I've loved that store ever since. It's also like a ton of stories high. The first floor is all like bestseller type contemporary adult fiction stuff, and then if you go up to the second floor, again, that is my favorite floor because that is the floor that is full of young adult fiction, and it has the cafe, and then there's also children's fiction. And they also have a really large selection of like toys and games and stuff, which is really fun. So that Barnes & Noble, I feel like, is one of the places where I always discover lots of books that I don't necessarily hear about on BookTube or really see about online. Like, that is definitely one of the places where I find hidden gems, which I love doing. So, unfortunately, you know, the prices are the price that's on the book, so sometimes it's more difficult to buy things there because it is just so much more expensive, so it's harder to justify like buying it in that place instead of somewhere you can get it cheaper. But it is a really great place to go and browse and to just kind of hang out and enjoy what's going on. And then if you go up again another floor, you'll be in the like comics and manga and adult science fiction and fantasy sections, so those are also great places to visit. That is just like a Barnes & Noble that everyone should try to get to at some point in their lives, especially if you're a Barnes & Noble fan in general. The next bookstore on my list is actually a little bit different. It is Midtown Comics, and that is obviously a comic book store, but there are 3 locations. There's one located in Times Square, there's one right by Grand Central, and then there's a third one downtown. It's really hard to choose a favorite of the 3 of them because they all kind of like specialize in certain things. Like the one in Times Square is definitely where you will find the most books, the most comics, like the most graphic novels. Definitely Times Square. And that store is also two stories, which is nice. So the first floor is completely dedicated to graphic novels, and then the second floor is completely dedicated to like Funkos and collectibles and toys and stuff and games. The Grand Central store is the smallest of any of them, and they probably have the least selection of any of the 3 stores, but it is nice because it tends to be a little bit quieter, and then you are also able to like transfer things between stores if you need something, and the staff that works there is really great, so that is a good place to go. And then finally, the downtown store is another one of my favorites. Like I said, it's really hard to choose a favorite because I feel like I have good memories attached to each of them. Like the Times Square one is where a lot of my friends would get together and just hang out, and it would be like our meetup point. But the one downtown is really fun because they host a lot of book clubs and signings and stuff. So while it's a little bit more annoying to get to, it's definitely worth going to. And they also have a really great statue selection, and their staff is probably my favorite staff of any of the Midtown Comicsers. So I would definitely suggest going there if you get a chance. And then finally, the 5th favorite bookstore that I have in New York City is another one that's a little bit unconventional, and it's Kinokuniya. And Kinokuniya is actually like a Japanese store, and they have, on the first floor, it's all like the same kind of like bestseller contemporary fiction. There's also cookbooks, and then they have some like fun like Asian merchandise and stuff. And then if you go upstairs to the second floor, they have a ton of manga, like just shelves and shelves and shelves of manga. It's so beautiful. I love it there so much. And they also have like a really cute little cafe where you can get like red bean desserts and like those kinds of things, which I love. And then there's also like a lot of collectibles up there, and then there's also comics, and they have some clothes, and like there's just so much like Sailor Moon stuff and Attack on Titan stuff, and it's just like an adorable store. So that is, again, another place that I would definitely suggest going to. And then if you go all the way to the basement floor, They have tons of like art supplies and like office stuff, like binders and pencils and all of that kind of stuff. And then they also have like some Studio Ghibli collectibles, which is really fun to browse through. And Kinokuniya is located right by Bryant Park, which is on 40th and 6th Avenue. So those are my top 5 bookstores in New York City. Again, if any of you are traveling anytime soon, these are places that you should definitely put on your list of places to check out. Let me know if you've ever been to any of them and what your thoughts are on them, or if you think there's any bookstore that I might have missed that you like better than one of the ones that I mentioned, but I'll find that hard to believe because I feel like my favorites are the best, so we'll see. Anyway, so that is all that I have for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you will be able to see these New York bookstores at some point. And I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!